It's fine. You know what? Welcome to the Rambles. It's fine. That's it's okay. We're the only show, the only live pre-recorded show that dares to ask the questions. Who?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm Zack. David is somewhere.
I'm David Substitute.
This is David's substitute. You have a real name. Believe in yourself.
Oh yeah.
Be who you are. Who are you?
John.
This is John from Giga-Bites. We're gonna get a jingle. Like, it's John from Giga-Bites.
Yeah, but it's got to be like Jawn, which is the Philly.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, well, like
that sounded more like the Tennessee version of John.
Yeah.
John.
No, but it's like could be anyone.
It's true. Well, that's what we'll do. I'll just have you blurt out this entire
Oh
episode.
yeah.
This is witness protection program.
Voice modulation.
Yeah, just fantastic. Oh god, it's so much work I have to do for these bits. Please don't during the show, John, mention 14 different links that I have to then go in and try to find where to put them.
Oh yeah.
Because,
I should not do that.
You should not do that. And we're not going to do that either because you came to the show for something. I don't know. We get more viewers and more podcast listeners now than we've ever had, which is good because if it was going down after 5 episodes, it would be really like, well,
Yeah, no.
wrap it up. We're done.
So things are up.
Things are going up. Stonks are up.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
On the Ramble stuff. Yeah, we love it. Please continue liking and subscribing and interacting with the various buttons on whatever you're watching this on. It goes to like 12 different programs.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Just comment. Say anything.
Say anything.
Literally put in the script from the movie.
I was
Say
gonna
anything.
Say, post the entire tweet containing the entire movie. Say anything into our comments.
It's a good movie.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Just post stolen movies in our comments. That way people can mute us, go watch the movie, and it still counts as a view for us. Yeah.
It's great.
Put this on for your dogs when you leave the house so they feel like they have somebody around talking and they're just like, oh, these bunch of jokers.
And cats. Don't forget cats.
Yeah. We don't test very well with cats.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, they
It's
tend not to
unfortunate.
like my voice.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the whole cat thing is like they're not really big gamers. They bat it around, but they're really more about boxes. You know?
Yeah, that's
Dogs
fair.
are just like, I'm gonna wreck stuff. I don't know what anything is. Just destroy it. There's a bunch of blurry items on screen right now. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not wearing my glasses. I can tell because the focus is on us. And there's so much stuff that it's pulled out of focus. We're gonna focus on that in a second.
Yeah.
It's called a segue. So we have some events at the store. John, where do you work?
So I work at Giga-Bites Cafe, which is up in Marietta, just right off the 120 loop. But yeah, we're having a couple events this weekend. Pretty big ones actually through the entire month of October. But starting this Saturday, we are having a small scale 40K event.
Do you want the sheet? You can have the.
There's
There's actually 2 sheets, but the other one's out of range. It's way over there.
Yeah. But basically, we're having spooky skirmishes. It's a 500-point tournament for Warhammer 40K. So this is great preparation to get small-scale 40K games in. It's great for people that are just starting playing 40K or want something out of the regular 2,000-point match play games, which is absolutely great and leads into these boxes that are in front of us.
Yes.
So keep paring 40K down into nice bite-sized pieces.
Until you have 1 Custodes. That's your whole army is just one guy with a chain axe thing.
Absolutely. And then we're also doing one of our set RPG nights where anyone can basically get a ticket, show up, and if you want to do a one-shot RPG led by a wonderful GM, you can join us for Murder on the Eberron Express. If you know the classic book, you kind of have an idea for it. But it will be a murder mystery in a steampunk setting in the D&D world of Eberron.
Nice.
So
you could choose
Yeah.
to show up and murder someone.
Exactly. Well, and you get to be a robot detective on a train going through a magical world.
That's been my dream since I was a child. I wrote that down and then they put me in therapy. But after that, I was like, no, I'm sticking with this dream. It's gonna happen one day. It can happen to you.
So this is a great time to kind of come in. I know we always have a lot of people asking, coming in our stores, how do I get involved into D&D? How do I find a group? This is a great way to dip your toes into it and have that preset group to you, so you can kind of get to know some of the community. The person doing the event is our head DM, because it's Dungeon Master in D&D.
But there's no dungeons in any other game.
Correct.
They're just
Game
games.
Master.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's our head DM. His name's Josh. He's a wonderful guy. He also directs our Adventure League. So going to this, great way to get introduced to folks, have a good night, have a nice structured game, and then play a little D&D and do something different.
Yeah, with the new edition, I know a lot of people are now going like, okay, what is this? Like, it's kind of wild to think that there are people who had just never interacted with Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons, because it's 50 years old at this point. It's old enough that like you feel like everyone kind of has, but we're maybe just big nerds.
Yeah, and like it keeps getting more and more mainstream and popular. We saw the huge uptick in D&D with Stranger Things, right?
Makes sense.
But now we have, Game of Thrones that has come and gone. With House of the Dragon, we now have Rings of Power.
Rings of Power, yeah.
We have Legends of Vox Machina, which is literally a D&D campaign that was so good that they got it animated and is now a show. And so there's many new avenues to kind of get introduced to it, and this is a way to actively take part in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The new edition is new enough for veteran players to get something new out of it, but it's also accessible enough for new players to kind of walk in and figure things out. A lot of times all you need is a D20 and a sheet of paper and you're ready to go.
That's awesome. I love boiling it back down to that, because I remember sort of the bloat around 3rd edition.
Yeah.
Where it was like, well, here's your player's handbook, but you're also going to need your fighter auxiliary supplement book, and then you're going to need this little thin paperback thing that has the feats you want in it. And I was like, God, if only there was some way to not have to do this.
Yeah, so that's the definite strength of the new player's handbook, is they took everything from 5th edition, tooled it up, and then compiled it back into one book, so you don't have to worry about having, a whole shelf of D&D books. You can just kind of take one and be good to go.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know, it's a wild world we lived in.
As Warhammer players, imagine.
Yeah,
just one book sometimes.
One book.
Because it starts that way.
And then 3 apps.
And then the 3 apps. One of them will work, but they're not going to tell you which one it does.
Correct.
Because I may have been trying to download an app yesterday about something we're talking about, and every single time the Apple Store was like, it's no longer available. And I was like, but it's right there. And they're like, nah, not
that one.
Not that one. You can't have that. Get the old one. I'm like, I don't know what the difference is. And they're like, triangles and circles. That's the difference. Yeah. That's what I'm excited to talk about. You're perfect, because I can just sit here and kind of zone out.
Yeah.
And while you talk about stuff, this is great. I don't even need to be.
I love info dumping.
Just get out of here. What's next? Swap Meet.
Yeah. So this is one of our gigantic quarterly events. It's our Swap Meet. It's one of our most popular days coming up in the store. It is like it sounds. You yourself, as a gamer, probably have a giant collection of either board games, models, supplies, comics, books, whatever collectible you have. You probably have more than you know what to do with. The Swap Meet is a great chance to come in and either get store credit for it or trade it for new games, new things that you're interested in, all in one afternoon.
You got to make space for all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I haven't taken these characters out of shrink wrap. It's been 2 years. I'm never going to convert these into Trader Guard. I don't even play that game. Why did I buy these? And then you can go, hey, maybe someone else can take them, and I can convert it into something that I do want to play. Exactly. Or just get it off the shelf, so your significant other stops going like, really?
Oh, yeah,
They're still in shrink wrap. We've lost the dog. They're buried underneath your 7 sets of starter kits. And I'm like, I might need 7 Vindictors.
If my wonderful partner is watching, please don't comment about how messy all of my gaming supplies are.
You know they're like one of the few people that comments on a lot of our stuff, right?
You
caught a third it's a third of our audience.
Yeah.
Great.
All tens of our audience.
There are tens of them. Maybe 12s of them, dozens.
But so the Swap Meet's coming up. It's going to be Saturday morning on the 12th. We're going to have doors open at 10 a.m. Doors will open at 10 a.m. to set up. That's usually the number one question that I get asked is, when can we come set up? It's at 10. We will also have just the doors open period for the public to come in and start from there. But if you want to arrive, a couple minutes early, you can bring your stuff up to the door. We'll unlock it at 10. You can come in, start setting up your table.
Now, I feel like 10 is the answer.
Yeah.
That you're saying that. Yes. It's just to reiterate that.
Yeah. So
I've been there at the start of these, and people are knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And we love them, but it's like, guys, 10.
Yeah, it's 10. And so we have tickets for these events. They usually sell pretty quick. They are basically just a deposit to where you can get a set table. If you haven't gotten a ticket yet, it's A-okay. We still have space. All you have to do is just come in. We have our event coordinator, Rob. He will be basically there all day to direct people and get them set at tables, so you can, trade all of your wares. So yeah, come in, get some store credit, or get some nice weird finds. I got a bunch of.
Yeah, what's the weirdest thing you've gotten or seen?
So weirdest thing I've gotten is basically old edition Lizardmen. Like
Nice.
I love that old starter box with like the little skinks with the bows and the Saurus Warrior
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like half the size of an actual Saurus Warrior now. Weirdest things I've seen at the swap meet, someone brought literal building supplies to the swap meet. So they brought molding, shingles, 2x4s.
I mean,
you know,
yeah.
like so.
It's crafty. Nerds can craft weird big stuff sometimes. You need to make a table like the one
Yeah.
we're on.
We don't really limit anyone in terms of what they bring in, with caveats of please don't bring in anything offensive, and we're pretty broad on that. And if you have questions about it, then that means you probably shouldn't
Yeah.
bring it.
If you have to look at this and go, is this a bit saucy? It is, because you had to ask that. Bring fencing, not offensive.
Yeah. And then the other thing is please do not bring anything that infringes on a copyright. So this is.
I can't sell my bootleg Rush Hour 2 DVDs anymore.
No.
Oh, man.
So you can't do that, which sucks, I know. Bummer.
God, that was my whole side hustle.
But the big thing is 3D prints of, like, let's say Warhammer models, right?
Let's say it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
So please don't bring those. We cannot have those being sold or traded for anywhere near the vicinity of Giga-Bites Cafe.
Yeah.
So those
I
are
imagine
really...
nothing illegal as well. Like, don't
Yeah,
bring like a gun.
I count that as in the offensive part.
Yeah.
Like I find like illegal to be in the offensive realm.
Oh, I can see that.
Once again, very broad.
If you have to question it, don't
yeah.
take it to a game store on a Saturday morning when kids are.
Please don't. But yeah, so it'll start at 10 a.m. It'll run all the way till 4 p.m. Usually the big traffic is there at that like 11 to like 1 p.m. mark.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to find and pick up some great deals, come early. But we'll have folks all the way to 4 p.m. and it's a really great day. It's lots of fun.
It is pretty cool, and it's also inside, so that's kind of nice too. Is you're
yeah.
not getting outside in the sun like a real flea market kind of thing, where it's like I'm here to buy some cool stuff, but I am melting the whole way.
Absolutely. You can come in, get a coffee, and then walk the tables, find something nice, find some out of print model that you might be looking for that someone brought in, and pick it up and then go home and brag about it online.
Start a new pile of shame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got a Chaos Knight Titan there a year ago, specifically to kit bash into Gargant pieces.
And how'd that go?
It looks cool, and people are really weird because they're like, you had a $200 model that you broke into like 4 different pieces, and I was like, yeah, but I didn't spend the $200 because I got it at the swamp meet.
Yeah, swamp meets are great for that.
Yeah, you didn't say
conversion pieces.
You didn't say I couldn't bring a horse. I just want to point that out. That wasn't on your list. Unless you're saying horses are offensive. Now, horse girls are our other half of our audience, John.
Oh, no.
That's it.
So, no.
I'm putting you on the spot. Can I trade a horse for Warhammer?
We can't have animals in the store.
It's a service horse.
Then yes.
I've been around horses my whole life. That would be the worst thing. They're so dumb. It would lead you into traffic on purpose.
But I can see people wanting it. Right? Like, like definitely horse girls being like, oh, I don't need an emotional support dog. I need an emotional support horse.
It's really hard to get on the plane.
Yeah.
The horse is freaking out the whole time, too. Like, a horse just makes your anxiety worse because the horse, a horse story. I was watching, because I had horses for barrel racing a long time ago. And I watched one of my horses who was sort of falling asleep while eating grass in the sun. He tooted from his booty. Mm-hmm. That scared him so much that he jumped up and then kicked his way through a fence, dragging the wire after him into the woods. So that's your service horse right there.
Perfect.
It's a malicious animal. The horse is like, finally.
Yeah.
Rubbing his hooves together. Yeah. Well, you read this whole thing from like memory, or you're an amazing newscaster and you only glanced down briefly.
Yes.
That was really impressive. All right, well, what's the next thing we're going to talk about?
Is it nerd news? I think it's nerd news.
It's nerd. God, it's actually bolted. You can't see that. There's no camera 2. I just showed it to camera 2. It's off.
So this weekend, we have a couple things going on at the same time, which is really cool. Locally, it's DreamHack.
Yeah.
So DreamHack is hosted in Atlanta. It used to be just a big video game convention.
Now it's like every convention
Yeah.
eventually grows into like gets all of it.
Yeah. But while that's going on, it's also Warhammer Day.
Yeah.
And so we have two big Warhammer events going on at the same time. DreamHack is hosting the like team tournament for Warhammer 40K, which we have a couple of friends playing in, for better or worse.
I have a couple of friends.
Yeah.
This is the best show
We're
ever.
at least involved tangentially in the chat with these people that are playing at DreamHack.
I do sometimes go to that chat when we accidentally butt dial and see who answers.
Yeah.
That's the best part of that chat.
But while that's going on, while a incredibly competitive event for Warhammer 40K is going on, Games Workshop will be hosting their annual Warhammer Day to celebrate whatever anniversary of Warhammer this is. I think it's like number 26 because last year was 25.
Maybe, but it feels like it's been. I guess Citadel has been around longer than that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not counting when we first started making D&D minis.
They're counting, I believe, Warhammer itself.
Yeah.
But what are we expecting with Warhammer Day?
They only wrote down Warhammer Day, October 5th on there.
Okay.
No. So obviously, there's always the like, oh, they're gonna release new models. Is it a new edition? Like that's the kind of the scuttlebutt that goes around. The new hotness is kind of in front of us.
Yeah. So with that, they're doing a reveal show on Saturday, and this will be going on Saturday the 5th, not the 12th like the swap meet. But this Saturday will be a reveal show that basically covers pretty much all of their game systems with a couple of caveats. But the big one,
the caveat, the airplane game that I forgot the name of.
That's dead.
Oh no! It's right out there on the shelf. We were
In
gonna
the
play
ground.
it.
No,
Oh, well.
It's What Is Dead May Never Die. It has been rolled into Legions Imperialis.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I could see that.
Unless you played one of the Xenos races.
Darn, I think I had the orc box.
I'm sorry. So
I never painted them, so I wasn't gonna play that game.
Legions Imperialis took Adeptus Titanicus and Aeronautica Imperialis, and threw it all together with little tiny dudes in addition to tiny robots and tiny planes. So
Even tinier.
Yeah, everything's together now in one game and works cohesively together. But they're no longer like three separate tiny games. It's one complete tiny
medium-sized game.
Yeah.
How many tinies adds up to a medium-sized game? I do like that because you can just be like, hey, here's my entire army.
Yeah.
Right here they are. My bigger guys painted them for me. They're just little. I love the models where it's like the little guy holding the little epic figure. It's like a Space Marine painting a Space Marine.
Definite hobby inception.
Yeah.
But this reveal show coming up will be focusing mainly on Age of Sigmar, which is the new edition that came out.
I know that game.
Yeah. I was going to say it's your game du jour.
It's my jam. I've heard it's. I don't know if this is a rumor because I read things on Reddit and then I half remember them.
Yeah.
I've heard it's pretty chaosy. Like that's the kind of thing that they're going for. And they showed that new Chaos Sorcerer, the 5th alternate Chaos Sorcerer sculpt ever.
I'm slightly upset as someone who is a fan of the Zinch flavor of Chaos. The person being named Zarketh with the same TZ at the front as Zinch. I was like, oh, this guy will be like a Zinch themed sorcerer.
No, he's just spooky.
He's just a regular guy. He kind of looks like, oh my god, one of the bad guys from, I think, Army of the Dead, where he's got like that skull mask with the horn out of it. Yeah.
I wonder if that's maybe completely on purpose.
Probably.
That could very well be.
I mean, because he's also holding the Necronomicon, you know, like.
All right, so we're on to you.
Yeah.
Because there's a Stormcast that comes out that just has a long strike, but it's a shotgun, and then a blade on his arm. We are on to this.
I'm all for that. But with the chaos stuff for Age of Sigmar, Prisoners with Jobs to Darkness, Slaves to Darkness. I actually got that. Anyways, Slaves to Darkness is the next faction book coming out.
STDs.
I like Prisoners with Jobs.
I said the 2. I didn't say a T. You didn't hear that.
But they're the next faction coming out after Stormcast. And so we should see reveals coming up for those factions for Age of Sigmar. But more importantly, there's rumors of a big relaunch of Warhammer Underworlds, which is their small scale kind of board game-esque.
Card game. That game has had a weird identity.
Correct.
Because at first it was like, here's everything you need. And then it was like, we're not going to let you use some of those cards in competitive, but if you buy this army box, you get some cards you need.
Right.
And then it was like, we're just kidding. Here's all the cards you need. And then like a month later, hey guys, sorry, so you can't use some of those cards in tournament. And it got a little confusing to keep up with.
Yeah, so it's a limited card game with miniatures and a game board that you play on. And so it has been clunky as the game has progressed and they learned. But theoretically, this should see a new relaunch of it. And who knows how wild they're going to get with the rules and such. It could be either a completely new rule set, like these boxes in front of us, or it could be a streamlining of what they've had before. But we should see a new Underworld's warband of Stormcast Eternals.
Finally, I don't have enough.
Right.
That's the one thing the line is lacking is Stormcast Eternals.
5? Is it like the 5th warband?
Please tell me it's at least got one Night Quester so that I have 13 Night Questers.
Zero idea what it is.
It's all Night Questers again. It's like, dang.
So what I will say is in the Skaven Tide book, there was talk of one of the main characters was a Night Quester that went to go help out stuff. But then the other side of the starter box should be Skaven, specifically Clan Skyer, which we saw the little bomb rat for.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I did think that guy was pretty cute. I always get excited right in between the word clan and then not pestilence when they say new Skaven stuff.
Yeah.
I picked Bone Splitters. I know what it looks like to be on the way out, guys. I'm sorry. It's the armies that they had their own little spin-off book in AOS 1, and you're like, oh, neat. Okay, cool. I'm going to dive into this. And now they're like, we didn't actually want you to do that much of that stuff.
It's just the Grim Reaper meme, like walking door to door. Just all of the Wave 1 Age of Sigmar books.
Bone Splitters, Skaven Pestilence, half of Stormcast, but just kidding, here they are, but they're slightly different, but you can also use the old one.
Beast of Chaos.
Beast of Chaos.
May they rest in peace.
Pour one out. Oh, they're in Kill Team now.
Yeah, they are.
That may be the Kill Team that I picked, because I was like, I'm bad at 40k. The armies I want to play are World Eaters and Beastmen. The armies that don't really play 40k, they play melee.
Yeah.
So, in a 500-point tournament, is that just Angron? Do you just put down Angry Ron and you're like, here he is?
So, in all honesty, like the 500-point little mini skirmish event that we have, I have no idea what the list building restrictions are or if there are any. I mean, I personally would love it just to see 3 guys show up with each of the Chaos Primarchs and just be like, this is my list.
That would be really cool looking.
Yeah. May be good, may not be good. You know, there may be a silver bullet, but either way.
I feel like you don't care if you bring one model. Yeah. And you're just like, here we go.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Warhammer Day reveals coming up Saturday should be really exciting with everything going on.
Yeah.
And it'll kind of give a more clear roadmap than the previous roadmap that they gave last presentation.
They got their graphics designer. All right, Mr. James Workshop, we're talking to you.
Yeah, correctly.
The graphics designer for Warhammer Community. I get it. I do graphic design for stuff. I work for a game company. I have to do things like that sometimes. Those maps are always just a little bit confusing because it's sort of like go down and then up and then sideways and then some question marks will appear.
To me, it's a mood board of what's coming.
That's just, you're getting the vibe.
Yeah.
Is it going to be chaosy at some point? Yeah.
They're like, these things will happen at some point. You're welcome.
We'll make a book.
And like, I think that's also like, it could be the most brilliant graphic designer because he was like, hey, what order are things coming out? And James Workshop was like, I don't know. And he was like, how do I represent that?
And James Workshop was like, good luck, chap. Then he pulled a thing and his propeller hat came out and he flew away into the sky. And they were like, is he Inspector Gadget?
God, I only can hope that that's the case.
I think that the James Workshop, because remember, I don't know if you remember the oldness of this. At one point they had the horse that was in the advertising, and then they introduced James Workshop the person. I think that's a proxy. I think the horse is actually running the thing, and he's scared.
So either one. There's currently an online petition to get James Workshop to bathe in a vat of Nuln oil and rise up from it like Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah. That's like the old army painter like dip and flick. Yeah. Is someone going to then flick Games Workshop?
I hope he sits on an office chair and they just spin him
around really fast. Look, it filled in all the crevasses. The model has natural shading now. How expensive? I mean, because they're free. But how expensive would a bathtub of Nuln oil be? Astronomical.
Yeah, like that's something that I would obviously include in the video where like each time you have some intern pouring a pot. Just see the dollar sign go up.
It's like they said I was gonna work for Warhammer. What's your job? I've been filling this bathtub for a month. it's congealing now.
Oh
I
God.
can see myself in it. It becomes like a Black Mirror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the next episode of Black Mirror.
I was gonna say, speaking of, Black Mirror has a new season.
Yeah, that's coming out if you want to, continue. The apocalypse is hot again this year. It's coming up. The month or two.
Apocalypse summer.
Apocalypse summer. We've had. I mean, honestly, we've had a devastating, hurricane.
Yeah.
And then if you're in and around the Atlanta area, a chemical plant exploded.
Yeah.
And everybody got clean lungs from it, which was great.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
and
So
then
take
there
that flu season.
Yeah, get out of here. Oh my God, does chlorine cure it? Were they right? Is this
no?
okay? Good. Whew. I didn't want to have to back up a lot of Facebook stuff I posted a few years ago.
I don't have a science background or a medical background, so don't take me at my word for anything.
Yeah, we're what? Our art and communications?
Yeah.
You can draw what happens when you breathe it, and I can explain that they should stay inside.
Yeah.
I like the alert for the chlorine thing that happened because it blows up everybody's iOS devices if you have one. They all go off at the same time.
Yeah.
And the alert in all capital letters was like, "It is probably not harmful to humans," as the last line. And I was like, I'm gonna need a little more clarity on
Right.
probably,
Right.
and also humans.
Yeah.
What's going on
So-
here? It's like are squirrels out there just like getting mutant powers now because of this? Do we know?
I hope so.
Has it been tested?
Let nature take itself back.
Finally.
Yeah.
What are we doing with it?
No, so I know we have cats at home, and before we get anything new in the house or change their food or anything, the first thing my partner does is research, is this dangerous to cats? Is always the number one thing on her search bar. So
It's because
yeah.
if your cats were like mine, if I bring anything into the house, it's like Nacho's gonna lick it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Oh yeah.
Tape, glue from a box, a fake plant that is fake plant. It's plastic. It's
Yeah.
not even a real plant. And she's like, I gotta eat it until I throw up. That looks real to me. It's like that's the third time that's happened, cat. She's like, I don't know. You can print it down.
So
Cat talk.
Cat talk. I could spend hours talking about my cats.
That's true. That would make us better on TikTok, probably.
it
if we just
would.
did cat facts.
I could have brought one of them in. Kira's very well behaved.
Oh, not mine are not.
Yeah.
I have Screamy and Commissioner Jim Gordon would just lay there and then get freaked out and then leave and smell really bad.
Yeah.
Not cat. It's not the person.
Yeah. Major Kira Nerys is she's very just placid.
Okay, so the next time you're on,
Yeah.
let's have a cat on screen
Yeah.
at that point. We can do animals. I can bring my horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a horse just every once in a while leans into frame, just picks up a box. Have you
Yeah.
seen this is completely welcome to the Rambles. Have you seen the TikTok of the guy that tries to make food and he has a cow in his house?
Yes, I have
It
seen
is
that one.
my favorite TikTok thing now.
Yeah.
It's just that guy just trying to make like a burrito and the cow is just diving in and eating food.
So on that, there's also one with a guy with I think he's got 2 corgis or something like that.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm going to try to make food with my corgis, and he does it at corgi height. And
It's dangerous.
Right. Well, they do the dog thing where one tries to get it and he turns to stop the dog, and then the other one pops up and takes it.
Yeah.
Classic comedy.
Clever corgis. Horses are not that smart. They just both fight each other and then they both get scared. And nobody
Yeah.
gets the food. Horses. If you've taken 2 things away from this episode, it's Warhammer Days on the 5th, and they're going to talk about stuff, and horses are dumb.
Yeah, just anti-horse rhetoric
This
from
is-
Zack.
Smash cut. There's a single horse watching this on YouTube, just closes the laptop, takes his glasses off, just goes away, just leaves.
You are going to have James Workshop show up on the show just to correct your horse.
I'm calling you out.
Yeah. But yeah, so other nerd news stuff coming up. We have several new nerdy shows coming out. I kind of touched on it before, but Legend of Vox Machina is showing up on Amazon soon. This is season 3. And I'm not sure if this is the series finale or not. I can't remember how far this season's going. But if you've been watching it, they're kind of getting to a climax, which is super great. And then there's a show coming out of another campaign that the same players did soon, which is I want to say their more popular one that I'm now forgetting the name.
Don't look at me.
It's like Hell's Bells or something like that.
I mix up Vox Machina and the one that's about the video game that has the blue-haired girl with the hammer. Maybe it's like Dota. Maybe it's based on, or the other one. Boy, am I not a gamer. for those
Arcane.
games. Yeah. I get those 2 shows mixed up because I didn't have. I think they're both on Netflix, and in my brain they merged into one show.
So Arcane is Netflix. Vox Machina is Amazon Prime.
Oh right, the thing you have that you forget is there.
Arcane, one of the best animated shows ever, critically.
I think I've seen the fight scenes on like Corridor.
Oh,
like
you
they've
should
talked
watch it.
about
Like
the stuff
it
on
is, it is great all around. 100%, and that's getting a season 2 that's coming out in November.
How do you know all this stuff?
Because I'm
This
a
man,
nerd.
this man knows stuff. Yeah, but I don't. I know like 3 things.
But yeah, season 3, Vox Machina, is an animated show of all time, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's a fun show, very tongue-in-cheek, and also if you're a D&D nerd, you'll catch so many references and things like that.
You're watching the show.
Yeah.
You'll catch all the references.
Right. I mean, but like,
if you've made it this far into the show, you're not like, oh, I wonder what kind of nerdy things I might be interested in. The litmus test has been put.
So, I mean, with all that, we also have a lot of great nerdy shows going on concurrently. We have Agatha All Along that's going on Marvel.
I'm still down with it.
Yeah, no, we watched some more of it last night. It's very good. I just like Catherine Hahn a lot.
They just were like, here's some scenery, eat it.
Yeah, and what is it? Patti LuPone is just an absolute gem.
Yeah.
But then we also have the Penguin going on for Batman fans.
I didn't want to slap the table because the microphones, but the Penguin, a show I didn't think I wanted, and I have a huge Batman tattoo.
Yeah.
I love Batman, and I was like, the Penguin. I guess, like, in the Batman, it was all right, but that wasn't really the focus of it. That show is incredible.
Yeah.
Why is it so good? It has no right to be that good.
So to me, it's in like the similar vein as like the Joker movie, where they're like, hey, what if we did like something inspired by the comic books, but did it very real and gritty? And so it has all these references to Gotham and Batman, but it is at its heart a very down-to-earth crime drama. And Colin Farrell, who I never was like, this guy's going to be an amazing actor one day, or words I never said.
Yeah, I used to go, oh, okay.
But you put that Penguin makeup on him, and he is a wholly different human being.
And he's so likable while being despicable.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a hard thing to do. The Sopranos kind of did that as well.
Right.
Where they're like, you don't like this guy. Breaking Bad, another great example. Like, this is a bad person.
Yeah.
But you kind of like him because they have that little likability. I love the scene where he's just like, I ask for extra pickles, they give me 2. That means the normal pickles is 1 pickles. Like that.
Yeah,
and that's such just a little bit of a character.
Right, yeah.
That makes you love him so much.
Yeah, absolutely great. Performances all around are fantastic. Clancy Brown's in there. And those who don't know, Clancy Brown's been in everything. The voice of Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
Multiple Star Wars characters.
Yeah, when you see him, you immediately go, I've seen that guy in a lot of things. The kid from The Runaways.
Oh, really?
Is in it. Yeah, the kid, I completely forgot his name. The secondary penguin, his little guy. That's the kid from The Runaways, which is a show most of you probably didn't watch, but it's actually pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I watched the first couple seasons of it. I thought it was pretty good.
It got kind of CW level of sort of we don't have budget at the end.
Yeah,
because you could tell when they went, we're not. I think it was right during like a lot of the stuff getting cut off and merged into the MCU.
Correct, yeah.
And it kind of was like, well, we're not sure we want to keep funding this, so we're going to go pretty low budget on this last couple episodes.
Yeah.
But, you know, time traveling dinosaur. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, always a way to hook me into a show.
I feel like I feel like they could avoid anybody going, well, that doesn't make any sense, because they're like, it's also a hyper intelligent dinosaur from the future with a nose ring.
Right.
Shut up. It's a really cool looking model.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything else.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a great show. But I guess back on track.
Other nerdy shows. Are you okay? I have a question for you, for Agatha. I asked David this, and I don't remember what his answer was. So it's Disney Marvel, and they do this thing where about episode 6 or 7 they go, and here's the surprise guest.
Yeah.
And it's always like, and here's a character, it's Hawkeye, and here's Kingpin.
Right.
Like they kind of do that, and sometimes it's really cool. Sometimes it's Yoda at the end of the Acolyte, and you're like, all right, sure,
yeah.
I guess he's there. Who do you think? Because they're gonna have to do it. They kind of got in that rhythm now.
So
who's the cameo?
Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto.
Oh, I was like, as Borat.
Oh yeah. By the way, I did some research yesterday. Not for this, but
just your normal Borat research you do during the day. Yeah.
The Borat movie can vote this year.
Oh no, I don't like that at all.
No. For the amount of times I say my wife,
I know, it's embedded.
Yeah, it's just in the system.
Well, because we're from the generation where you didn't have memes necessarily. You just yelled Anchorman quotes across the quad at other people.
Oh my
because
god.
that's kind of what you had. Yeah,
Yeah.
You kids these days, you don't understand. Our audience is average like 45.
Right,
Due to
yeah.
Facebook metrics. So, like, you know what we're talking about. So you think, but they've kind of, I don't know if that counts. Because we already kind of know Mephisto is probably going to be in there. There's been some leaks of some stuff. And
so I haven't paid attention to a lot of the leaks.
it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I kind of see where they're.
I'm going to go with the other brother, not Wiccan's brother. The other twin.
Okay, so yeah, the one that was not Quicksilver but is kind of Quicksilver.
Yes, I keep wanting to say Speed, but that's the Flash.
Yeah. Speedy was also the Green Arrow's ward.
Yeah.
And he did Speed. A famous comic cover.
Yeah. That's how he got his name, right?
That's real prescient. Yeah.
No, I can't remember the name of the other brother. If you know the name, put it in the comments. Wiccan's brother.
Wiccan, yeah. Are you saying that you think that's probably Wiccan? It's not a spoiler if you're saying that, because it's an opinion, because we don't know. We're watching it along with you.
So I think it's Wiccan. I think it's one of the twins made manifest through whatever has gone on with the Scarlet Witch.
Everything.
Yeah. And so it would make sense to have the little Speedy brother like come in at the end, or just like all of the Young Avengers, like just get
that would be pretty cool.
What is it? Kate Bishop, Stature.
I guess Miss Marvel would be, even though she's been in the movies now.
Yeah.
She's graduated celebrity-wise.
Right.
She would still be.
Yeah, she would still be in there. The next wave of marketable adults until they age out of comic book movies.
Yeah, they're gonna make them do this until they're 95.
Exactly.
You're going to have to.
Sorry, Hugh Jackman.
Sorry, Hugh Jackman. Did you see Deadpool 3?
Yeah, no, he was great. I thought it was CG until I saw the behind-the-scenes stuff.
No.
Yeah, no, he's
just dehydration and working out constantly.
Yeah. Poor guy.
I know, he's like, I just want to sing operas and be in broad plays. And like, no, work out until you die and then do this. That's what you're going to do.
I mean, it's a paycheck, right?
You know, dude, I would take that paycheck.
Yeah.
I would take it. You need me to stand around and let Deadpool make fun of me? All right.
Yeah, easy peasy.
I'll be killed. I'll be Headpool.
Yeah.
Floating around. I'll do the voiceover for that.
Oh, Nathan Fillion?
Yeah. I love Nathan Fillion's one of those guys that also is in like a ton of stuff. And you go, that sounded like the guy. I think that was the guy. Yeah.
Lots of voice work. Same with his buddy Alan Tudyk.
Was that Captain Hammer? I think that was Captain Hammer.
Yeah, he was Captain Hammer. Yeah.
So that's what I know him from. His most famous role.
Right. Yeah.
That everyone definitely gets that reference at home.
Absolutely.
One of our 3 other watchers.
Another early 2000s movie, much like Borat.
Yeah. We're old.
We're actively graying.
Silent Hill 2 remake. Oh no. I remember when that came out. I don't want to look at the sheet anymore. The bottom is just my kidneys.
When it's a Silent 2 remake, is it like a show or is it like a new game?
It's I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, internet at home. Well, hold on. I'm getting some news in from our offsite correspondent Ryan. It is a game, yes. Your yes had a question mark on it. I don't know if we can trust offsite reporting Ryan. He just rolled his chair back away. He doesn't want to. He's not in the show anymore.
Quick to the internet.
Quick, look it up. You're on a device. Minimize this, but don't close it, and look it up. I believe it is the remake of the original Silent Hill 2 game. Kind of like how they keep remaking Resident Evil 4.
Got it.
And updating graphics and fixing bits and stuff like that because they were like, this was the banger.
Yeah. I'm not super into scary games, but I understand it's scary season.
It is spooky season.
And Silent Hill 2 was very scary.
Yeah, it was. I would caveat, I think it was scary, but also PlayStation 1 level scary. You were kind of like, oh, that would be spooky if it had more pixels than a Cybertruck. Right. But it doesn't. No, so I'm kind of like, all right.
Listen, it used its 10 pixels per model to the best of its availability.
To get Pyramid Head. You're like, oh, that guy's cool. What's that? And it's like, well, we could render the body pretty well. And then we got to the head and we were like,
we ran out.
We have 4 pixels left of Pyramid. Done.
So yeah, that's coming, which is fun, and plenty of other spooky stuff.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of spooky stuff at GigaBitesOnline.com.
Yeah.
Or in store.
Including all this stuff in front of us.
Let's talk about this stuff. We have put it off for too long. This paper's out of here. I don't need that anymore. One time I threw that card and it looped around and almost hit me in the face. And it was like, it swung, it was right off camera.
Gold. That would have been absolutely...
If you watch the shot, I do this and then I go, what? Because it came like right over the side there. That's the time I became a pirate. Like the chords, what are they? Corsair Void Guard, the Course Guard Void Sayers.
Yeah. So those are this. I guess let's do
we should
the
probably
broad
do the
broad
two things.
broad. Oh, two
We have
things
two things
first.
that aren't
Okay, cool.
this. We have none of this is gonna show up particularly well because we have so much. It's all super reflective as well. Check
Yeah.
out the shiny box. And if you're on the podcast, sorry.
So the box Zack is holding is from Star Wars Shatterpoint. It is Good Soldiers Follow Orders. Star Wars Shatterpoint is one of the 3 Star Wars miniature games that Atomic Mass Games puts out. This is the small scale skirmish one.
Yes.
And it's very character heavy. These are the Stormtrooper, Special Forces Stormtroopers that are from...
Bad Batch.
No, is it? No,
Yeah,
no,
because
no,
Crosshair is the leader.
no. This isn't Crosshair,
This
is it?
Crosshair right
Oh
there,
my
yeah.
god! Oh,
I knew a Star Wars thing.
Sorry, this is from their Clone Wars day before they were Bad Batch.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I think,
yeah,
or is this when they go bad? After he has kind of left Bad Batch. Boy, we're getting into some Bad Batch lore.
Yeah.
Here. I faintly remember that show. I liked it, but I do not recall most of it.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of Star Wars stuff you watch and you're like, that's neat, and like a year later, you're like, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're a Bad Batch fan, please correct me in the comments on what period this is from.
Star Wars fans never go into the comments. To
Yeah,
correct
yeah.
people. One of the most calm groups on the
but-
internet.
But they're all in black Stormtrooper outfits without like any characterizing marks to them, which is why I think I gotta say this has to be from their Clone Wars days because
Yeah.
like it's all of them. It's Hunter. You can see the guy with the legs.
Oh.
You can see the heavy guy.
I actually thought these were unpainted. Like I was looking at like, why did they put unpainted? Because you can't see this. Well, look at the back. The rock is super well painted. He has a tactical rock.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. They are painted. They're just really done. The
Yeah.
black and dry brush kind of metal look.
And so this is a blessing and a curse of Star Wars and Star Wars fans being incredibly accurate to the shows and things.
Yes.
So these will be very close to how they showed up in either the Bad Batch or Clone Wars. They are 40 millimeter scale, which is larger than your standard 32 millimeter scale that like Warhammer 40K is, or the other Star Wars Legion miniature game is the 32 millimeter scale. So they're big, they're characterful. They actually take paint very well, despite Zack complaining about the mono.
Well, that's just me being
monochrome.
dumb. I just was like, oh, they're unpainted. Neat. Okay. Because a lot of companies just put the unpainted stuff.
Yeah.
Legion does that on some of their things where they just
Yeah,
show you
yeah.
the unpainted thing on the back. So,
But yeah, this is coming out. This drops tomorrow.
yes.
For Star Wars Shatterpoint. It's a really fun game. At Giga-Bites, we actually run a meetup at least once a month where everyone comes together and has a really good day on Sundays. So make sure to check it out. I know
Awesome.
the event gets posted on our our general event wall and all that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ryan and I, offsite reporting specialist Ryan, we're going to actually try to get some Shatterpoint things because they got me to put in Cloud City Lando. And I was
Oh.
like, oh, that's the thing that gets me into the Star Wars game is can I play as Lando?
So one of my favorite things is coming up beginning of next year, I think first quarter, we're getting a Kit Fisto box,
yeah,
which
he can be real awesome and then get immediately bodied by Darth
Yeah,
Sidious.
yeah. No, with all of the aquatic levels that Star Wars Shatterpoint doesn't have, he will excel.
But he'll be grinning the whole time.
Yeah,
I really like that scene where he does the thing and he blasts the battle droid and he's like, hey.
yeah, he did it.
Like, so they have smiles as an emotion? Okay.
And then I can't remember his name. Star Wars people will correct me, but he sits on the Jedi Council. He's got like the tall head with like the white tuft of hair out the top.
Kiai Mundai, the one that was in
Yeah.
one of the other shows. He showed up and then people got really mad because they were like,
he was in the Acolyte too.
yeah,
people
and then they were
yeah.
mad because they were like, according to this is an actual thing, according to like the DVD commentary for the Phantom Menace release, the first one, audiobook or something.
Yeah.
He wasn't born then, and people were like, this is completely incorrect, and I'm like, I think that's sure.
It's a different one. It's
Yeah,
a different one of their species.
It's a different that guy. Maybe they're
Yeah.
all named that. You don't
Yeah.
know.
But yeah, so he's coming out for Star Wars Shatterpoint beginning of next year, and he also brings like Jedi acolytes with him.
Uh-oh. I don't think that's good.
No,
You should break it. Here's Kiai Mundai and his child army.
Listen, Anakin Skywalker's going to immediately start sweating just like, ooh.
Hey, all my Anakin cards get powered up if there's a youngling on. Oh no, this rule's never made sense. It's in there for flavor.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm playing the toddler army.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Just one droid with a bunch of younglings.
Oh no.
Please make that happen, Atomic
Versus
Mass game.
Ewoks would be adorable.
Yeah.
Just the way Ewoks just throwing a baby.
But basically, Star Wars Shatterpoint's getting a bunch of exciting new releases. This is one of them. We have the Mandalorian sets coming soon.
Yeah.
So it's the Mandalorian box set, and then also the Armorer is coming.
One of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Which he just takes out everybody with a couple of hammers.
Yeah,
Like, that's awesome.
Absolutely amazing. And then also the Bounty Hunters box set's coming out, and that is the one. So most of these box sets you can just take out of the pack and play with them, because they'll have like a leader, a secondary, and some troops to play with. The Bounty Hunters, I believe, are just secondaries. It's like a whole box of secondary characters.
Kind of makes sense.
But exactly. It's like Boba Fett, IG-11.
Never heard of that first one.
Robert Fettuccine.
Oh. Oh yeah. Now I know who you're talking about. Yeah. You gotta mention the actor.
Yeah. No, that's his full name.
Robert Fettuccine. Oh,
Yeah. Boba Fett Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Boss
nickname.
and I believe Dengar.
Oh, good. I was like, do they have a guy who looks real dumb with a bunch of toilet paper on his head?
Yeah. Beautiful Dengar.
Beautiful Dengar. Some of those costumes on that one scene in Empire, we know they were reused. Bosk was a reused alien suit from something else. I think the Dengar costume was like, I don't know, put some stuff on him.
Yeah.
Make him look like he's gonna have a guy.
I feel like he tripped through the like Lawrence of Arabia set.
Yeah,
and like rolled into the Star Wars thing, and they're like, "Great, roll!"
And they're like, "Okay, all right, I put a dumb breastplate on him that wouldn't stop a laser blade. Good, you're done.
Yeah,
there you go. Star Wars armor. Why?
Yeah,
doesn't ever seem to really work unless you're a main character, and then you don't need it.
Yeah. So
Star Wars universe, Lando's just running around looking suave in some silk pants, and he never gets shot.
Yeah, his face is unscarred.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all those are coming out this year for Shatterpoint. You can pre-order them on the store if you like. But moving on to the next thing before the big thing is a new RPG coming out from Cubicle 7 called Broken Weave. This is their own IP. So it's really cool. This is something that they created from the ground up. And it is a post-apocalyptic setting. Gods are dead, magic's gone, and you are left to rebuild the world. And it actually gives you the tools to
do it?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. Because otherwise, this game's terrible.
So it's using the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons rules, but it is its own self-contained setting. But it focuses on doing community building, which seems like, it's something that RPGs don't necessarily focus on. But you'll be helping to set up like towns, outposts, things like that, things to rebuild the world while also kind of exploring the mystery of that post-apocalyptic setting.
And they've I don't know if you looked into Uncharted Journeys.
Yeah.
The other time they kind of did this, where they were like, it's D&D adjacent, but it's our own universe.
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
That's in-house RPG specialist. You've been watching his videos on Facebook. You better be watching his videos on Facebook. Talking about cool RPGs, and that's one we have on the docket to talk about because it's pretty neat. I like Cube 7. They do a lot of good. They do some other things that you might have heard of, like all the Warhammer role-playing games are also them. But it's cool to see them as a design house, and this is talking from the business side of stuff over where I live, in Business Town. It's cool to see them really start taking like their own IPs and pushing it out because they've, for a while it was this is Warhammer Fantasy, this is Wrath and Glory, Soulbound was awesome, and every time that you kind of go, they're figuring this out, and then boom.
And so them coming up with their own settings and all of that, I think is always like the dream for most game companies, where it's like, hey, we love working with licensed material. And they are fans of Warhammer, especially the people who work there I've talked to. They're huge Warhammer fans.
Oh, yeah.
And so they've always been loving this. But, like, to finally take the exposure and what you've learned from those games and to make something your own is I think, always a design team's goal, right?
It's a dream,
Yeah.
I have definitely been pinned during a conversation. I said one thing about Warhammer Fantasy, the entire trade show team of Cube 7 went off, and I didn't know what anything meant after that, because I got into Warhammer basically when Age of Sigmar launched, even though I kind of knew about it for a long time. That was my, like, I'm diving in, I'm going to play this game. So I was kind of just like, hey, and then it blew up, right? And they're like, yeah, but in the year 400 BC when they were moving in from the north, I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. They know their stuff.
Shout out to another podcast / YouTube or whatever, but there's Lorebeards on YouTube. and they have a guy who goes by Lore Master Sotek, who's incredibly versed on Warhammer Fantasy. But then also his co-host was one of the original writers for Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, and he worked with Games Workshop to kind of like hammer out the setting and the timelines and things like that. So it's incredibly informative if you're in that kind of historian-esque Warhammer person.
I love putting that stuff on when I paint and just
Yeah.
like just absorbing it, like 2+ tough and all that. Like,
Yeah.
give me
Oh,
some, give me
absolutely.
some lore. I've been diving into a lot of lore. Oh yeah, check out this game. It's
Yeah.
on Giga-Bites Online. We're gonna probably see if we can't snag a copy and have Phil do a little review for you and kind of dive
Yeah.
into like how you can get into it. And you know what? I feel like post-apocalyptic settings that are a little grimdark is kind of on the table today already.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move this. I have no place to put stuff. Let's put that over there. Look at that. John just whips it out into the audience, the live audience. They don't. We're not very funny. They never respond.
What's the singular of audience?
Sadness.
Oh,
The singular of audience is you at home. You are the most important person.
thank
watching
you
this
everyone
show.
for watching.
Thank you. But before we go, which we're not going yet, because we got to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. So
There's so much stuff on the table.
in front of us, and
front
like
of
the
you.
whole range of everything is from the new edition of Kill Team. So the new edition of Kill Team drops this Saturday with a new box set called Hivestorm. Hivestorm's the one that's right in front of me. It's an incredibly heavy box, so I don't want to lift it because it will.
It would reveal his secret coffee that's behind
Yeah,
the box
yeah.
too.
Nobody knows about that.
Nobody knows about the secret coffee.
So Hivestorm box comes with 2 new kill teams, which include the Imperial Aquilons, which is the Astra Militarum drop troopers.
Yes.
That are taking the place of the old Elysians, if you remember them from Forge World. Your
bit.
blank stare said
A
everything.
bit, like, I think I've seen the models probably. Yeah.
So basically, these are the as high of trained as humans can go before becoming superhumans in the Warhammer setting.
So the life expectancy is like a solid 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty good returns.
And then what they're fighting against is the Vespid Stingwings, which is a alien race of a semi-hive mind insect people. And these insect people are guided by the Tau. They have some sort of alliance together, and the Tau have helmets.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
some sort of alliance.
Right.
Where we don't disappear you and you do what we say, and then you get food and stuff.
Yeah.
It works out.
It's the farthest the symbiotic relationship can go before it gets to parasitic.
Yeah.
So these bugs are equipped with enhanced weaponry, tactical stuff, and so basically they're not like your Tyranid bugs where you will, where they're kind of like mindlessly eating or whatever. These guys have thoughts and goals and hopes and dreams.
Bug hopes, bug dreams.
Yeah.
They have guns instead of just like splorting a thing out of them that shoots a thing. I've been playing Space Marine too. I know my Tyranid lore.
Exactly.
Sports.
So it comes with these 2 guys. It comes also with a full kill team board of terrain, which I don't want to undersell that. Basically, there's 4 to 5-ish buildings in there, building ruins. But it goes a long way to actually filling out like a full table of Warhammer. But it definitely makes a table of kill team feel very alive in terms of like cityscape kind of thing. But in addition to that, there's still more models.
What?
There's basically scatter terrain in there, which is really cool. But then also from there, there's grenade tokens, which is really cool because you can actually throw like smoke grenades.
Yeah.
And it'll make like a little smoke grenade token on the ground, which is, I think, neat.
I love, and it's a silly thing to love, but I love in war games when you get little things, like a little explosion or something like that, or like, oh, when this guy died, here's the little dead version of him I can put down. Like, it's fun to add in that little extra of silly immersion, even if it does take a few extra seconds. Like, oh, put in the smoke, I painted this, I'm gonna use it.
And it's really funny in this that they include like ladders and walkways for the 2 factions that will not use them. But this is future proofing.
I was gonna say,
it's future proofing.
As I said, I picked the Beastmen, so they gotta climb up there. It's very hard for them.
But so those are all the plastic minis that come in there. So it's 2 kill teams, buildings, scatter terrain, and the tokens and things like that.
And you know what? I'm going to interject 'cause I forgot to tell you this
Yeah.
before the show. You can check the link below for the unboxing video.
Oh yeah.
Because I forgot to tell you we're going to shoot an unboxing video immediately after we shoot this one.
Oh hey.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
we're going to do that so you can see all this stuff. And we're going to go through it and basically be like, look, here's all the models, here's all the sprues and everything like that.
Yeah.
So you can check it out. You can listen to me go, I don't know what most of this is, but I like the towel bugs.
He'll know a little bit more when we're done with this.
I've learned a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I'm glad also they didn't put sights on the top of the towel guns for the bugs because they have like multiple eyes. Seems like they wouldn't need that.
I'm sorry to inform you.
Oh no! Is that a bug sniper?
Yes, there's a bug sniper with a lens to go over one of his 6 eyes.
Oh, that's the good eye though.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
one
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that cuts out the depth perception.
Uh,
I don't know. It's space fantasy.
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Well, like they were just given a sniper rifle, right? Like
Yeah, I feel like the Tau has money. I don't
Yeah.
have any reference for this, but I feel like the Tau has enough money to make a special bug goggle.
right.
So
Well,
is this a joke? Are they like the joke? They're like, yeah, send the Vespids out. We
wha-
trained them wrong on purpose.
Yeah. And they all throw their heads back and laugh.
Fish laugh.
But no, the Vespids are used as, I guess, shock troops where they will, like, fly down and do, scare tactics or whatever,
Yeah.
and then fly away to safety.
If you're just a 40K person and you're just hanging, your life is already terrible.
Right.
Like, no matter who you are, you're just hanging out. You're working in your meat farm where you bioprocess cadavers or something. To
Right,
make
yeah.
you, and then a bug guy flies down and you're like, oh no, the Tyranids are here. And then the bug guy pulls out a Glock and you're like, I am even more confused now.
Right.
And then the bug guy says something to you.
Well, so, like, they also have stingers. Like, all of the
Even
Vespids
better.
have stingers, right? There are no rules in their attack profiles to use those stingers.
There's no law for the stingers.
So like, once again, you're a regular Joe Schmo. Bug guy flies down. You see this giant stinger with, like, that's maybe like 12 inches.
Yeah.
That could clearly impale you. And then he just pulls out a pistol and is like, ha ha.
That's why it's the distraction.
Yeah.
You're watching the stinger. You're like, okay, maybe I got a chance. If it comes at me, I can bat it away. He's like a big
Yeah.
bee or something. And he's like, surprise, gun.
Yeah. Vespids, practitioners of up close magic. You thought it was this, but it's this.
Little known fact about them, yeah.
Yeah. So in this book, or in this box, there are also the Kill Team books, the little campaign guide for this particular box set,
Mhm.
Hive Storm, to kind of walk you through scenarios and settings, and then also tactical op cards, or crit ops cards. What are they called? They're called
This is the approved ops.
approved ops cards. So
You can't
this,
get disapproving ops. That's a different one.
if Zach was to ask, John, what's new about this Kill Team edition?
John, what's new about this Kill Team edition?
I don't know. Let's move on.
Okay,
No,
let's
I
go.
can. So,
Wait a yes, no, the bit.
Kill Team, this new edition, one of the big changes is when you play the game, you will set up 3 different objectives. One will be an objective that's, both players are working towards, whether it's like grab, objectives or do X, Y, or Z.
Get the football, stand
Yeah.
on the objective, the kind of standard.
Yeah,
like,
the standard
wargaming
ones.
stuff. Yeah.
The next one would be your kill objective, which is, can you kill more things than your opponent can?
All right.
And
Back
then,
in.
Yeah, and then the third one, which I believe is called the crit ops, is going to be your solo objective. So it's something that you have to do that your opponent won't know that you're trying to accomplish
Oh.
until you match the certain specifications to reveal the card itself.
So like your secret objective.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, aha, I
kind
wanted
of.
you to kill that
Yeah.
guy.
And like you can tailor those to be, beneficial for your guys. Where like, who knows, maybe it's like have more guys at a higher elevation than your opponent or whatever, and your flying guys are going to be trying to one up each other.
Thank goodness for
Yeah.
all the ladders.
Yeah. But so each one of those is worth the same amount of points, and once the game begins, you actually get to choose one of those 3 objectives. To where if you complete it or score higher than your opponent, it gives you an extra 50% points on there.
Okay.
So basically, if you want to win the game, you more or less want to try to complete 2 out of the 3 objectives before your opponent does, or score more points than your opponent.
So that gives you a little customization where
Yeah.
let's say you're playing. I'm looking around. I'm gonna imagine the leagues of Votan probably are not like super duper fast because they
Correct,
got little
yeah.
legs.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put all your eggs in the hold multiple objectives and spread
Yeah.
out basket. But if there's one that's like got to cluster up and be a little
Yeah,
fortress, you can be,
Uh,
that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely. And so it gives multiple teams different ways to win because this is an asymmetrical game in terms of like how the factions are designed. Not everyone's going to have access to the same things.
Yeah.
So this is a way to kind of tailor yourself. If you are running, let's say, the Chaos guard box.
Is that this one?
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of normal random dudes who like the Chaos gods.
Well, that one guy.
And then one Ogren. But let's say they're not effectively all that killy because they're just a bunch of regular dudes.
Yeah.
Then you'll want to try to go more for your crit ops and then your your board ops from there.
Yeah, you're probably not. What is this guy? Trader Flinzer. He has brought a knife and a different, smaller knife to a gunfight against the Night Lords.
Yeah.
I feel like he's probably not going to win that fight.
No.
But he can sneak around and grab that football and run, maybe.
Exactly. And also, he gets to live out the Crocodile Dundee dream of going up to a Night Lord, and the Night Lord goes, "You call that a knife?"
This is a knife, and then the guy's like, "Ah!" And then the Night Lord has a new
new cape,
new suit, new cape, new loincloth.
But yeah, so this new edition is definitely more advanced than I would say previous Kill Team editions have been. Back in the day, I always thought Kill Team was more or less watered down 40K to get people to get in, a funnel, a gateway to 40K, as it were. But now, Kill Team has definitely evolved into something new, which is the same level of complexity as a 40K game, just with using less models and resolving much quicker in terms of like an actual session of it. So it won't be like a 3-hour game of 40K, it'll be more of a hour-ish game of Kill Team, where you can get just as crunchy, or maybe even more, in terms of rules as like a 40K game. But once again, the actual expenditure of time and the amount of models you have to bring is much less.
I was going to say, the effort you have to put into it is not, all right, I want to play the guard. Oh no, I've chosen an army with 500 of the same guy. Hope you like doing tanks, because that's what the army is basically.
Yeah, and Games Workshop has definitely, they have it in their mind to have this be a very competitive format, similar to how Warhammer Underworlds is, but basically they are going to constantly update and tailor the rules to make sure things are balanced and play well. And I would expect to see tournaments of this coming up, especially now with the new edition coming out. It seems like a lot of fun for anyone to get involved with, especially since the bar is so low to get into it.
I do love a low bar of entry and effort.
Basically,
especially now in my miniatures campaign. It's like, how many armies do I have in Age of Sigmar at 8K? Cool, this one's 8 models. I'm going to play this game now.
Yeah, and so all you need to really get into it is going to be a box, and you can get this box, which is great, which will have everything you need, or you can pick up an individual faction. I recommend picking up the Kill Team rulebook, and then probably the Kill Team approved ops cards, just to make things easier for you. But overall, much easier to get into, much smaller barrier of entry, and it still has all of that fun 40K like lore and setting that the main game has, just more condensed and less investment for you, the player.
Plus, if you have like a Tau army and you're like, oh, we're doing a campaign, we're doing a narrative thing like that, we may be brewing something like that, then this is a little offshoot. There's something that can happen to the campaign, like how Warcry. Sometimes you could be like, okay, cool, this big Age of Sigmar battle, but we're gonna have Warcry because this is like a little spec ops mission. To go over here and do this kind of thing.
I always toot this horn when I can, but Giga-Bites' own Roman, one of our other video producers and all of that, he runs a 40K campaign where, it's a big interplanetary campaign where people are vying for area and resources. But when it makes sense, he'll break the game down into smaller bits, whether it's boarding action or kill team. And, whatever you do there will affect the campaign in itself as well, which is really smart. And for those who really like narrative twists, this is great for any campaign that you're getting into 40K wise, where it's just like, hey, just bring a kill team and if you do this like covert mission, you will get a benefit to your main army, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
they got the thing, and now your guys have a better
yeah.
something like that.
Or they turned off like an interplanetary gun, and you're able to bring more resources. Whatever, the opposite of whatever you're doing in Space Marine.
Yeah. Have you beaten Space Marine?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is no spoilers, but I love that the big twist mechanic at the end of Space Marine is, what if the thing did like this? Oh, it works now.
Yeah.
It's like you just watched the guy do that.
No, listen, for a Space Marine, that's a lot.
This opened up a debate we had yesterday, which is, are Space Marines smart? Because they're hyper evolved everything else, but they do kind of seem to take a second, unless you're a Primarch or like. So Skalgar's not a Primarch; he's just real cool.
Yeah. He's just the chapter master.
He's just got fist guns.
I like to imagine all Space Marines are meatheads, right?
Okay.
They have an exceptional facet to learn. They just do not, because it's Warhammer 40K, right?
What are you going to learn?
Yeah. Well, like
if you learn too much, it's like
exactly.
I don't know about
that. So that's the thing, is that they are kept intentionally not very book smart. But like I would say their IQ's higher, right? Like their capacity to learn is up there. It's just that they don't.
Yeah, because they seem to be able to, at least in the game. And I haven't read any real Space Marine books. I've read very few 40K books, but they seem to have kind of like the capacity to immediately go, we need to get power back on the generator. All right, reroute those 2 conduits, do this, sprinkle a little salt on the keyboard, and then it'll work. So they know these incredibly complex things, but then they're like, how can we reverse the polarity? He said reverse. Hold on. Remember when the guy reversed the thing? Do you think that could be connected? I don't know.
Yeah, they're like, what if we just turned this on switch, the off switch, and they're like, oh. Yeah.
My other favorite part was, I'm sure this is meant to be intentional, but the first time they do it, the guy's like, I'm going to do it. It hurts him clearly to flip it over. And the second time, the guy just uses his robot arm. And he yells, but he yells a lot less. And then he just kind of gives the other guy a look, and I just wanted to be like, robot arm.
Yeah, because he's the last one to do it.
Yeah.
So each of the 3 guys have to turn a switch that hurts them, and then the last guy who has just robot hand is just like, huh?
Yeah, robot arm.
And there is a look on both the other Space Marines where you're like, why didn't you speak up beforehand?
Yeah. Why don't we just let you do all 3 of these? Hold on.
But yeah, Space Marine dumb, at least in my headcanon, I don't think they're necessarily going to be quoting Shakespeare, just the litanies of the Emperor.
Yeah.
And if their problem can't be solved by grunting at it, it's probably
more grunting.
Yeah.
Bigger gun, more grunt. We have to load the grunts into the gun, and then pray, and then the gun shoots everyone. And then we go back and we stand around and we go, that was good shooting.
Yeah,
we did a good shoot.
I think the example of they know how to fix something great, where like a Votan guy could tell you why it works.
I love the Leagues of Votan because they can basically look at all the history of the other races except for like Necrons and, and basically be like, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because we keep records of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, we were kind of there, cloning, kind of.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, there's a dragon of Mars. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, we were there. You guys just made that up. We've been watching you.
Right.
You're real dumb. We don't understand this at all.
Well, that's the reason why they're not in the Imperium, because the Imperium's just like, we don't like that.
Little people, Xenos, gotta be too smart.
Yeah.
You're using AI. We don't use that. Anyway, get the ship to do this processing for us.
Yeah.
What do you think that is, people?
No, it's the spirit. Listen, in Space Marine 2,
motive force. It's like that's just electricity.
To unlock the computer, he had to light incense.
I know.
And
do little candles. And...
It's a spirit. It's fine.
It's fine. It's really funny because they do all that. It's like, how messy does that computing equipment get? That you got candles burning all over it. You've sprinkled like salt on it at some point.
Right.
Like,
so at least in the future, things are better designed than like the Cybertruck, right? Like
you could take it through a car wash and it probably wouldn't ruin your Terminator armor.
Exactly.
So just change all the panel colors.
Terminator armor is clear coded.
Terminator, you go through, you're like, oh brother, I didn't read the inside. Do not take to a car. It's a car.
Yeah.
What? How do I also don't expose to rainwater? What is this thing?
Yeah. So someone eventually at some point had to be like, all right, my computer's going to be next to a bunch of candles. How do I make this work?
How do I future-proof the
Yeah.
keyboard? All the keyboards have those really gross plastic covers that like fast food keyboards have.
Oh yeah.
When like the back of house, because you have the one computer there, and it's like you can't even see through it. It's turned that yellow,
Yeah.
basically.
I just want to see the servitor with like the little like in between vacuum come up to the keyboard and like sigh and just like, you know.
It's his whole arm is a vacuum. That's
Yeah, yeah.
He makes the butter. That's his one job. He's that guy. He's this vacuum guy.
In true Imperium fashion, it would just be like a nozzle placed on top of a nozzle and so on, like until it gets small enough to go into the keyboard.
Yeah. 14 different wires going
Yeah.
into his brain, but he still falls downstairs. He's worse than a Roomba,
Yeah.
which they would shoot immediately.
Oh yeah,
They'd be like, a towel abomination.
that's too much AI.
It learned where the stairs were. Space Marines, afraid of Roombas,
Yeah.
canonically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
That's Calger's like, ah, what was that? I like how, I know that it's rule of cool, and this is the last we'll say about Space Marine 2, because we've talked about it for like 3 episodes
Yeah.
now. I love how dumb and awesome his fist guns are at the same time.
Oh yeah.
They're so dumb, but they're so cool, but they're also really kind of dumb.
Yeah. No.
But they're so cool too.
100% impractical, but like that's also all of the Imperium, right? So like he just exemplifies all of it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that made me sad in Space Marine 2 is that Calgar has these fist guns, right? And he just kind of sits there and like mows people down, but never uses like the fist part.
Yeah, we never see him just punch a guy.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would just walk up to the sorcerer, spoilers, I guess, the sorcerer guy at the end
Yeah.
and just be like, bonk,
Yeah.
just knock him right in the face.
But yeah, I think that was the only thing we're missing. But who knows? Maybe there'll be an expansion where we get to see Calgar punch something into orbit.
They just need to do the expansion I said in the last one. They have the character models for all the Chaos factions.
Yeah.
Just let me play those on the ops missions. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
I've done the same mission 14 times. It's not going to break canon. I have my guy sitting there in his all red armor, and it's
Yeah.
like I roll up and people are like, "Oh, Blood Angels," and I'm looking at my little wool eaters thing, like,
Yeah.
we're cool with this, right?
Yeah.
We're real cool. Chainsaw sword. Talking about impractical weapons, I play the faction that's like I have a gun and an axe.
Yeah.
Hit that tank with an axe.
It really highlights it in the Space Marine game, but also really kind of puts you in that universe, right? Where it's like, man, these are a bunch of not smart people.
They have a shield and a sword. You could have a gun, you know. Nope. I'm going to take the shield and the sword and a flag.
So his gun is attached to the shield. So he can't shield himself and shoot at the same time.
Yeah, that seems like you could just put the gun facing out.
No, why would you do
put the
that?
gun on a little thing, maybe?
No.
A little thing?
Too much AI.
Have one of the little babies carry a gun
Yeah.
for you and then shoot the things?
Uh,
Too much AI. This whole episode has gotten us into some heresy. But you can play with that in Kill Team.
Yeah, no,
Bring it
absolutely.
around.
So all of this drops Saturday. We have a bunch of pre-orders.
It all just dropped right then.
We have a bunch of pre-orders for the box set. We still have them available, as well as a lot of the individual Kill Team bands. Some of these haven't been available as individual releases. Looking at the Night Lords and the Mandrakes. So if you've wanted these models and haven't had a chance to get them by themselves, now's the time. But yeah.
That's really cool. All right, so what faction are you gonna play? Let's say that like perhaps we were sitting in a studio that was prepping to do a bunch of Kill Team videos.
So
what dinosaur adjacent faction are you kit bashing?
the Crew.
Oh, I guess I guess they're birds.
And
birds is
are
dinosaurs. Yeah, we've got it. We got there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why for Warhammer I audibled hard into a full Crew army.
All right.
So just the most
A man after my own heart. This is the hardest way to do this. I'm in.
Yeah, a whole faction of reptile bird people that are kind of modeled after the Predator.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit.
So they just scratch a lot of itches. So I got those guys working in there. I also like the Vespids, but like the Vespids are bug people, and
see, I wasn't in when they were like, oh, it's going to be Tau versus a guard faction. I was kind of like, offsite reporting specialist analyst Ryan was like, oh, excited, more guard stuff.
yeah,
And then I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me they're bugs? I'm back in.
Yeah.
I love Nurgle. I got plenty of bug kit bashing stuff
Yeah.
ready. It's like, I'm going to put some big old wings on these guys that look silly.
yeah.
Give that sniper the appropriate accoutrement to shoot his gun correctly. Just a bunch of eye patches on one side. Each individual one, though. He has to put them all on at the same time.
Our hobby coordinator Rob at the store, he has a chaos possessed Tau army that he's been working on.
Oh, cool.
And so he's been swapping all of the bug wings for wings from the scourges of Drukhari,
Yeah.
which are like feathered wings and like those membrane bat wings.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, oh man, he's probably going to convert things to be like really nurgly with the Vespid wings from there. So
Yeah.
it's pretty neat.
I may be going for the Vespids because I'm
Yeah.
just like, I keep looking at the one guy on the side. I'm like, yeah, that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
You get me into a fantasy universe or any game by giving me like the kind of dumbest but also coolest thing.
Yeah.
That's why I like World Eaters. It's really an army of idiots
Yeah.
who don't even have good anything, but they're kind of cool as
Yeah.
well. Those nails be biting. There's
They
no
do.
World Eaters kill team. And there's no Custodian. We were joking that the
Yeah.
Custodians kill team is an orbital bombardment.
Right.
And then you put down one guy and he just walks up and like, blam, I win, and then leaves.
So that is something with this new Kill Team edition. I haven't had a chance to actually look in the rule book. You can do that with your unboxing. But so in previous editions of Kill Team, they let people kind of take whatever faction they were playing,
Mhm.
with the exception of Knights, the giant robots.
Yeah.
And they gave you at least one way to play a Kill Team with that faction. I'm not sure if that's still that way in this edition of Kill Team, but I do know that they are planning on rotating out armies
Mhm.
to basically keep the competitive play fresh, and then also basically eventually move a lot of these Kill Team kits into just regular rotation, like put them on the 40k faction walls, which will make them a little bit cheaper because they won't have the Kill Team stuff in there.
All the
with them.
rules and the cards and everything like that. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely take a look at it. Look through the instruction books. But yeah, before a Custodes Kill Team, I think was maybe 3 people. If you like,
I love it.
if you really like tooled the points down.
Yeah.
And so it was basically 3 Custodes.
They
with,
didn't
like,
get to bring
fists.
guns.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, why didn't they deploy with guns? We couldn't afford them. Shut up.
Yeah.
Here comes the punch.
But yeah, so on the plus side, it means that there's a bunch of Kill Team factions on the way, and that they're going to keep releasing Kill Team factions on there.
And there's really good diversity. Like
Yeah.
I guess a Tyranid kill team
Yeah.
kind of makes sense. There would
So-
have to be.
Yeah, and I think we will see a Tyranid Kill Team, and who knows what it will end up being. It might end up being something like a Lictor leading Von Ryan's Leapers.
Yeah.
You know, like, or it could be originally it was like 3 Tyranid warriors, right? Where it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
big guys. I could see one where it's I don't remember the name, the floating brain thing.
Yeah, Neurothrope.
Yeah, like one of those.
Zoanthrope.
Yeah,
and Neurothrope.
zoanthropes. And
Yeah.
one of those and like a couple of guys and it's like you
Yeah.
kind of control them like
Exactly.
horde mode. That could be kind of fun.
So yeah, I expect every faction, with the exception of Knights, to have a Kill Team box at some point.
The Knights kill team is you have a counter.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you just put a foot down on the table, and anything within like 18 inches of that foot is just obliterated by the weight of that foot coming down.
So I would love it if it's. Oh, I hit my mic.
Oh no!
Oh no! If the Knights Kill Team is just the pilot, it's just one human, and
Titanfall style.
Yeah, you have to basically run around and try to complete objectives until there's only 4 turns in Kill Team, or 4
Okay.
rounds in Kill Team. Like, let's say turn 3, you're like, Big O, let's go, showtime, and you get sucked up into your robot.
John, I already felt really old at the beginning of this show.
Yeah.
Don't remind me of Big O.
I love Big O.
I love Big O. Big O. Big O.
Also made by Bruce Timm from Batman.
You could really easily tell.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
looks-
yeah.
I remember watching it and going, is this supposed to be Batman?
It's
His car is kind of the Batmobile.
yeah. It's really wild.
It
They're
sort of has
like,
yeah, it is kind of
just like how Japanese Spider-Man got a giant mech.
yeah, Tiger Mech.
Yeah. And then Japanese Batman got a giant mech.
You gotta have a mech if you go
Yeah.
to Japan. I went there and I didn't have one. I felt really out of place
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah. So free mechs for all.
That's a towel thing.
Yeah.
If you sign here.
Yeah, exactly.
And also you have to do these things, comrade.
And put on this helmet that definitely doesn't keep constant surveillance on you / possibly mind control you.
Yeah, it is funny that one of the bugs is wearing a helmet.
So yeah, that's a lore thing where the Tau like, hey, we can't communicate with you well. Here, try this helmet on, because they speak in like clicks and pheromones and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. and they put the helmet on, and they were super aggressive to the Tau before. But once the helmet got on, they got talking. They were able to get through all their differences and come to a deal.
Weird.
Yeah.
We can't speak their language, but we've hired our translator to tell us what they're saying. And they're like, oh, and they're like, he says he's very thankful for you showing up. He's glad that you murdered all of those villagers because that really helped with their population control.
Yeah.
And they're thankful for your gifts.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Kill Team's going to be big. Just to throw out there, we have Kill Team nights, Thursday nights at 5 to 5:30 p.m. They'll run the entire evening. We usually get a whole host of people coming out for them. We have multiple fully painted boards, wonderful people that will either teach you how to play or gladly play a game with you. So if you are interested in Kill Team and want to learn the ropes, come out on Thursday. I want to say the Thursday following this video should be a really good one because everyone will have their new box and go through the new rules. Great time to learn.
It's a great time to jump in because no one's good as well. You're not going to just go up and get just absolutely bodied and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that's how the rules work. It's because everyone's kind of learning together.
The most important thing, though, is that the rulers and widgets are now in inches.
I was trying not to make the joke.
No.
But that was the most opaque thing they ever did, which was like measure in triangles.
So supposedly it was because of this is a rumor, and I have no way of proving this true or false, but what I heard was basically they couldn't decide on the measurements, and the guy basically just used the symbols like square, circle, rectangle, square, circle, triangle as a way to just denote the sides of it. And then when they sent it off to print, they didn't remove those symbols. No. And the symbols got put on there instead of the actual like measurements, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna run with
we have to commit now.
Yeah,
it's canon.
Yeah, but luckily this edition it is less arcane to actually understand, which is great for anyone because as a grown adult, as me and Zach,
as we pretend to be,
at least combined together we are, we don't have a lot of time to play games or learn games for all that matter.
I got 4 editions of Age of Sigmar up here, and every single Liberator is different 12 times. Gryph-hounds, they've swapped the 4 and the 3 on the attack profile. Every edition, it's a 3 or 4 and a 4. I can't learn a brand new game unless it's like, oh, this has an easy level to get into.
Right. And like I said before, I would say the same general complexity as Warhammer 40K. It's just been moved around to different rules to accommodate a smaller board itself. So.
Makes sense. So here's our last question before we go, because this is something I've been kind of ruminating on. And I mentioned it on another show that I'm not going to pitch, but I do another show. And we were talking about, like, is Underworlds and its Kill Team kind of an attempt to get into, like, the e-gaming, like, esports kind of thing? Because it is almost nigh impossible to balance 40K and Age of Sigmar to the point where you can't kind of game the system. Age of Sigmar, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah.
But there's still some times where you go, oh, man, that's just... There's one thing that stops that army, and I didn't bring it. I'm gonna lose this match.
I would say
get into that.
I would say because and same with Warhammer Underworlds as Kill Team. There's a commitment to rotating out armies and introducing balance updates and things like that. And when things are small enough, it's a lot easier to balance. I also think it's a commitment from Games Workshop to show off incredible models, but also make it manageable for people to do battle reports and basically really kind of put the game in a perspective that's easy to translate into film or stream or whatever. And so I think it's really smart on that end. I personally will always love the big full-scale games like Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40K. But however, watching a live stream of a Warhammer 40K game,
it can take it out of you, especially if you don't know either of the armies. And
correct.
Like, what do they do? What does any of this mean? Yeah.
And we recently learned it really takes the presenters, the show people, knowing what's going on to actually make those streams watchable.
Yeah. Adrian, I've spoken with him over at Tabletop Titans, and I've hosted plenty of things in my life, but to able to host, be entertaining, interact with chat, and play a complex game to the point where you're doing it well.
Yeah,
that's like a lot of somersaults.
It absolutely is. And so I think Kill Team and Underworlds is an attempt to bring that down and make it easier for people to digest from a spectating point of view.
And it's less rule nuances that a TO or somebody would have to adjudicate, to where you come back and you're like, oh, if that guy had said this, I wouldn't have lost that match. He called that rule wrong.
Right.
Because you've kind of locked in the rules. Here's your 3 Stormcast for this. Here's your deck.
Yeah.
Everything works in a very easy to understand fashion.
Yeah. The customization for your kill teams is relatively set, right? Like it is are you bringing these special weapons? Do you have a grenadier? Okay, your guy with a grenade launcher, you've signed the grenadier, so
makes sense.
He has this special rule in addition to, whatever his normal stats are. The end. So nice and unified, and easier to balance. So those people that definitely like the smaller competitive games, whether you're if you're an Overwatch or Counter-Strike or League of Legends, you'll probably gravitate more towards these rules than I would say necessarily 40K, because 40K can be kind of overwhelming, especially for beginners.
Yeah, but this is the gateway drug.
Yeah, it is.
Because you get this and you're like, man, look at these cool little Chaos guys. I wonder if there's more. And then you pull up Chaos Space Marines and your hair's blown back by the awesome models. And you're like, oh, I want to go to there. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of feel when I got the Beastmen, as I was like, these are really cool. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'm going to paint them up as corn so they can hang out with my World Eaters. They don't care.
Oh, and also fun things. Kill Team has also been kind of the testing ground for new armies and new additions to existing armies. We saw the Kroot Kill Team come out roughly a year and a half before the Kroot relaunch. We got the Orc Commandos launching shortly before one of the big Orc relaunches. Mm-hmm. We have Death Corps of Krieg, once again one of the launch boxes, but they're about to get a whole new wave range confirmed by GW. So it's one of those things where if you look at the Kill Team boxes, you can kind of see where things are going in terms of new models and things like that.
So you're saying you heard it here first. They're going to make an entire bug army in Tau.
Dude,
and I'm finally going to play the Gundam army.
If they do more stuff like Xenos factions and things like that, Tau, I'll be incredibly happy.
That would be really cool.
Nothing.
Yeah. I don't care about the guys in the suits and everything. Give me a multi-cultural force of weirdo aliens.
Yeah.
Basically just running around doing stuff. They put the Vespid in one of the suits. He doesn't fit.
He's
awkwardly sticking out of it.
And basically, the Tau were the Covenant before the Covenant were the Covenant for Halo.
Are you saying that this universe has inspired other universes and then vice versa has happened throughout time? Wild.
It is an Ouroboros that won't stop.
I gotta go play some Gears of War. I mean, Space Marine 2, and whoops.
Yeah, oh god.
The multiplayer feels exactly like Gears of War 2 without cover, which is kind of more challenging because every multiplayer game of Space Marine 2 is just people barrel rolling constantly to avoid the hammer guys, and it turns into just this weird whack-a-mole where you're like, brother, the elite fighting force of the 41st millennium, barrel roll, knife, barrel roll backwards.
Which also ties Space Marine into Sonic, Yeah. You play the Ultramarines, you're blue, you're just constantly rolling around.
Gosh, are we uncovering the true nature of Sonic? Sonic was ripped off of the Ultramarines.
Yeah. Just wow.
Knuckles will be Blood Angels?
Yeah.
It's kind of red. Tails, Tails be?
Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard, that works well.
He's not supposed to be. He's not very good at the stuff. Yeah. The one lady when his battle sisters, guns. What's her name?
The Bat or Amy?
Oh, I forgot there was the Bat.
Yeah. Amy's the other hedgehog, I think.
Boy, we do not know our Sonic.
Anyways, can someone please go in the comments and explain the deep Sonic lore?
No, please don't invite the Sonic fans to our comment section. You've invited the Star Wars people, the Warhammer people will be there, and the Sonic people. So
welcome to party.
Welcome to Dragon Con. Basically. Everyone get drunk and fight over in the comments as to whose fandom is the best.
Who would win in a fight, Calgar or Sonic?
Shoot. All right, Ryan, we need a new episode. I don't even know if he's out there anymore. We got who's going to win in a fight, Calgar or Sonic. Put it on the board. We're going to get that done.
Which blue is better?
Which blue is better? I'm gonna say Calgar's got the fist, but he doesn't use them. Sonic,
Correct.
Does Sonic ever punch in games?
No,
Mario learned to punch.
Eventually. No. Knuckles punches because he's got knuckles.
I do one thing. I'm Idris Elba. That's my Idris Elba voice. It's really good.
Spot on.
It's absolutely accurate.
No, Sonic just goes into a ball and just bounces on things.
He just hits stuff with his head and body.
Yeah.
Have you ever rolled into a ball and tried to hit something?
Yes, when I was little.
Yeah, it doesn't usually work out well.
I went to art school, so.
I don't know what they're teaching these kids.
Yeah.
Going to the barrel roll class, there's a giant rabbit, and he taught me that.
Yeah.
And to use my bombs wisely.
Yeah.
I think that's all we could possibly squeeze out of this episode of Kill Team. All right, well, last final question, and it's for you at home to end this with. What Warhammer Day model, what do you want to see? What's like the dream thing model? Like dream model, not because I know, the Seraphon are back, or for me, it'd be like more Stormcast on birds, because I like that. They keep doing it for me.
I want to see, I've always wanted to see a silver tower for Zinch.
Oh my gosh.
And we had it, we saw it in Space Marine.
Yeah.
Once again, to go back to Space Marine 2.
Yeah, we never get off of that.
But they have it, and I want that for Thousand Suns in Warhammer 40k and Zinch in Age of Sigmar.
It's just it's the size of the table. You just come and you put it down. You're like,
No, but
then it opens up like a Barbie playhouse.
Yeah.
And you can put all the models inside.
I was going to say like it's Zinch. It can scale down. It can grow big. It can fold out.
It's
whatever.
Zinch. It can break the rules. Who
Yeah,
cares?
whatever.
Yeah, it's a bird wizard.
What's your model?
Shoot. All right. Well, like I said, I was gonna say, what if they gave me a Stormcast on a bird, but the bird had a little hat? But they did that because I don't know why, but I'm like, I love Stormcast birds. No one's gonna be surprised by this. I want to see like a Gryph-hound champion, because the Gryph-hounds have been a staple in my armies forever, and they've given us a couple of different cool ones. But I want to see one that's just like poofed up, like he's a big bird dog guy, but not all the way up to Gryph Riders. Like a champion Gryph-hound. It won't have any new stats.
No,
it'll just be cool looking.
There's the named Gryph-hound in Scaventide.
Yeah.
What's his name? It's like Truth or
Justice? No. Beaky? No.
No.
I read that book, and I'll admit I kind of forgot half of that book.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. It's a launch book. It's fine.
But no, just character one lets you run as many Gryph-hounds as you want.
Oh my god! Just an army of Gryph-hounds. What are you gonna do? Not roll saves? That's not happening. But I've flooded the table with stupid dogs.
Can you deal with 200 bird dogs?
Yeah, that's just I brought a zoo where I had Gotrek, and then I just had dogs and birds and the 2 Stormcast heroes necessary to anchor them. And it was just like, here you go, it's Gotrek running away from dogs and birds because they love him and they just want to hang out with him. And he's like, I hate you guys.
This is mental note for myself, but I need to Photoshop Zack onto the cover of the movie I Bought a Zoo.
Yes.
So you're Mark Wahlberg, and then it's just
my dreams.
Gryph-hounds.
Just surrounded by Gryph-hounds.
Yeah. That movie. We Bought a Zoo.
We bought a zoo. Yeah.
But it'll be I Brought a Zoo.
I brought it. Now I have to commit to that.
Yeah.
So the next time we do an Age of Sigmar turn, I gotta go home and paint more Gryph-hounds. I do have a lot, actually. That I got from a swap meet. Oh, it worked around because somebody had 3 unopened boxes, and he was like, "It's $10 each. I don't want them." And I was like, "Give me those dumb dogs." Oh, good times. Well, so John, thank you for being on.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. And David's fine. He's fine. Stop asking. He's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Remember, you're like, what's my catchphrase?
Yeah, it's fine.
Fine.
It's weird that you keep asking about him. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
He'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because he's fine. He's definitely not turned into a puppet by a witch's curse.
No.
That would be wild. And certainly not something that we're going to have to go off screen. And okay, so they got the college room going. So we're going to go do some completely unrelated magical kind of stuff like that. So come out to Giga-Bites and do spooky stuff. And thank you for watching the Rambles, and hit a like or a subscribe or something, wherever it is on the screen. Who knows? And John, thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
And
thanks for having me.
Always, you're a pleasure. And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye now. Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Bye now.